Welcome to Between the Rounds. I'm your host, Sarah C. Now, last night we saw 4 fights on the main card of MVP Promotions in Orlando. 2 of those were world titles on the line. But before we talk about the fight breakdown, we have to talk about Dina Thorslund and what she survived just to get to that walkout. So back in June 2025, she gave up her bantamweight titles due to a pregnancy, only to then suffer a tragic miscarriage. And then 4 days out from this fight, her sparring partner, Raven Chapman, collapsed right before her with a brain hematoma. Dina was the one who put her in the recovery position while help was on the way. And with all that happening, she didn't pull out of this fight. She fought, she dominated, and she won all 10 rounds. So let's get into it. So Dina Thorslund defeated Cherneka Johnson for the undisputed bantamweight title by unanimous decision. It was 100-90 on every judge's scorecard. So carrying that level of grief can really drain a fighter before they even touch gloves. But instead, Thorslund showed her ability to channel it into sheer focus. She didn't let the emotion compromise her technique for a single second. Now, from the opening round, you could see Johnson was really hesitant and really couldn't find her timing. And Thorslund was capitalizing early on with lots of volume and being the aggressor on the front foot. Unfortunately, Johnson fell into a trap of throwing just single shots while Dina answered with full combinations, landing the first and last punch of every single exchange. It was a clean sweep with 100-90 on all judges' scorecards. Now, Thorslund showed a real level of craftiness in there, but her next test needs to be someone who can not only match her output and exchanges, has to be someone who's more versatile in setting up those entries and building on the second phase attacks. So Dina's main strength is her front foot momentum, and she has this great ability to smother your counters by immediately launching into her response in the pocket. So to beat her, you can't just throw these single shots or stand toe to toe because she's going to beat you. You need an opponent who has really good feinting skills to draw out Dina's first counter, steps off at a quarter angle to reset that distance and to use it as a defense mechanism, and then hit her with a second phase combination while her guard is open from that initial attack. So for me, someone like a Molly McCann, who has that explosive footwork and that punch variety, will be able to force those types of resets and disrupt Dina's rhythm. And that's a fight I hope we get to see in 2027. Then next up, we have Tammara Thibeault, who defeated Desley for the WBO and IBF middleweight titles. Again, another unanimous decision of 100-90 on every judge's scorecard. Now, for me, this wasn't just a win. It was a real technical takeover. Now, Thibeault is a 2-time Canadian Olympian. She's a Commonwealth Games world medalist and a chair of the Pan American Boxing Confederation on the athlete committee for Canada. And she's a prime example for me of someone who's been able to transition seamlessly between the amateur and the pros and has done so well. Now, this fight in particular proved why that pedigree matters and really showed us what the foundation of a strong amateur background can do for you. In just her 5th professional fight, and because of that amateur background, she was able to dismantle a world champion for those unified titles. From round 1, Thibeault looked so stoic and composed, and she managed range so well with great feints. She caught and countered and controlled that distance so well. Her southpaw backhand to the head, and then as she started to add on to the body in the later rounds, was absolutely lethal. Robinson had no answers. She had no head movement. She was like a deer in the headlights. She was pawing with the lead hand, but wasn't delivering on anything. And then when she started to come forward, she was falling short on her shots. She kept walking straight into Thibeault's backhand. And in fairness, her corner were doing the right thing with letting her know they're not going to allow her to continue taking this type of punishment, and they needed to see something. And even after a clash of heads in round 7 that left Thibeault's nose gushing with blood, she remained stoic in that moment and worked her way to a beautiful victory. She said in a post-fight interview that after taking a headbutt to the nose, it could have completely discouraged her and the fight could have gone either way. But she, had that inner voice telling her that she wasn't going to let that happen. And to see how she remained so calm and so composed throughout the entire fight while the blood was gushing out of her nose was just pretty incredible to see. Then next up, we have Amanda Galle, who defeated Shurretta Metcalf for the junior bantamweight, which was a unanimous decision. I'll be direct. For me, the quality in what we're trying to build and promote as women's boxing wasn't there. Neither fighter showed the skill level that this platform really needs to grow. Galle used great MMA background to push forward with raw pressure and a clean right hand that won her the fight, but there was no real technical boxing craft there whatsoever. And Metcalf, as we know, was really tough, but she was only looking for those big shots from a distance, and toughness alone doesn't win rounds at this level. And then we have Krystal Rosado, who defeated Alondra Hernandez in the bantamweight by unanimous decision. Now, this was Puerto Rico versus Mexico, and a clean sweep on paper for Amanda Serrano's protege. But there's plenty to unpack here. Hernandez fought like a true Mexican warrior, walking forward, eating everything Rosado was throwing at her. And Rosado brought fast-paced combinations and great output. But she made things harder on herself. In round 3, I noticed when she dips her head so low on the defense, she takes her eye off the target, which is a dangerous habit. So she loses sight of that target coming back up. And against a more versatile contender, she'll get punished for that. I also noticed she has a tendency to switch off after she's landed a beautiful, clean combination. And those split seconds will cost her when she's getting caught clean. Her corner, rightly so, reminded her to stay behind the jab and create that distance. But instead, Rosado kept sitting in the pocket to trade blow for blow. Now, she landed some really nice straight shots, but she lacked the feints to set them up smoothly. But I will say by round 7 and 8, she showed lovely footwork and really smart shot selections on the back foot. The backhand hook, followed by a really nice uppercut hook combination. But again, against a step up in class, staying stationary and trading with a stronger contender will cause her real problems. So she needs to be more consistent with managing that long to mid-range distance control moving forward. So that's all I've got for you on the main card breakdown. But this month we have 2 more MVP cards. So August 21st, another first for MVP, where Amanda Serrano takes on Lucrecia Manzur. Again, a slight mismatch on paper, but it's the first boxing event ever to be streamed live on TikTok. So let's see how that shakes out. And then the one I'm most excited for, August 29 in Birmingham. Michaela Mayer takes on Chantel Cameron to unify at super welterweight. 2 incredibly accomplished fighters who have nothing but respect for one another and a genuine fight of the year contender. So circle that date. You don't want to miss it. I've been your host, Sarah C., and this has been Between the Rounds.